Vaya, señoras y señores, welcome back. It's me, Ebot. As you can see, I'm driving at night and trying to pick up my son from college. I want to do a little quick video to talk about the topic that Phil Spencer laid out today. They was talking about an interview they did with him sometime last week about, the company now fully putting investments, meaning money, into making more games, which is software, or creating studios, or buying out maybe perhaps good studios out there that are independent, that one, want to be bought, and two, would want to bring some more dynamic to the Xbox gaming library. And it never fails. It's great because it's at the eve of the launch of the Xbox One, or midnight release in Manhattan, which I should have been able to go. I didn't really plan right and schedule right, and I just missed out the opportunity of being able to go, which I could have, without a doubt. Maybe even met up with Ghost Rider, 7:30. Shout outs to you, my boy, mi familia, and just had a good time. Basically, just had a really nice time to make it fun. But it never fails. The most asked question, and the question that people always harp on and rant about and always try to bring up every single time: oh, well, Xbox got no games, Xbox got no games, which is furthest from the truth. That's absolutely nonsense. It's ludicrous. It's not real at all. Okay? Let's start with that. The Xbox One has plenty of exclusive titles. Okay? Because the titles that you got on Xbox One, you can't play them on the Nintendo Switch, and you can't play them on the PlayStation 4. That is a fact. Can you play a good portion of the Xbox exclusive on PC? Yes, you can. Because that's their ecosystem. They have it set up that way with the UWP. That's the whole point. That was the whole point of it. So we're talking about consoles. If you're a console gamer, you're not trying to buy a PC. You're not going to buy a PC that's going to cost you more than a console to play those Xbox games on that PC. That's bullshit. Okay? The only people doing that are people that already own PCs and feel not really the need to having to buy a console because they own PCs. Obviously, that makes perfect sense. Why should they? Unless they want to have, the experience of the console with their family, which is a shared experience. Because PC is very antisocial when it comes to the experience. It's more solitary. It's more to yourself. You can't really share it with your family in the living room. I mean, even if you drag over your fucking tower and it supports HDMI, you put it through your TV, it's not the same thing, okay? It's going to be a hassle connecting all kinds of sorts of crazy things, like extra controllers and everything else just to make it run right. By the time you get it running right on the living room, your whole family fell asleep. That's a fact. So, and that's not throwing shades at PC. That's just the way it is, okay? And PC guys know what I'm saying and what I'm talking about. Okay, now, it doesn't fail because I seen already real quick people, oh, well, seeing is believing. I'll believe it when I see it. Listen, I've been one of the few people that, if anybody that follows me knows, has been saying since this whole agenda and narrative started this year with Halo Wars 2, when the release of it, that I was saying that Xbox did not have the privilege that Sony had with PlayStation to just sit back and enjoy their laurels and successes. Sony simply had to concentrate on continuing to make the marketing deals and have their in-house party or in-house, developers create different intellectual properties, which are IPs, new ones and old ones, visiting them, whatever the case may be, to continue to give software and games down the road in the long vision of the roadmap, obviously, because these consoles usually last no less than 5 to 6 years. That's how every console duration normally lasted, with the exception of the 360 era, the Wii era, and the PS3 era. it lasted way too long, and that is one of the reasons for a lot of the consoles that we have now that release not really being up to snuff and on par, because by the time the new consoles came out, the hardware and the software on these consoles were pretty much dated based off the specs that they needed to run most games properly at a high quality fidelity of graphics and frame rate and whatever else you could possibly conjure up and think, like loading and no screen tearing and things of that nature. So what the problem is, okay, the problem is that you people, or a lot of you people, I don't know what is wrong with y'all. Y'all act like y'all work for Microsoft or y'all in business. And I would love to see how many people that are the ones yapping their mouth saying, oh, I gotta see it to believe it. Show me your credentials of business and management for a business and how you do business, and show it to me and let me know. Please, just link it down below and say, yeah, look, I have my paperwork and credentials in the business and in financing and in management. Because you don't work for Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo. All these things take a long time. As we know now, as Albert Pinello pointed out with his interview with Ryan McCaffrey, that the whole pitch of having a console that allows you to bring everything with you and all the generations with you started back in 2012 with Don Matrix, which Phil Spencer was still part of that board, okay, meaning they all have to agree and say yes in order for it to go through. So it was a Don Matrix move with everybody else on that board along with Phil Spencer, which people are trying to negate that he has nothing to do with it, which Albert Pinello also stated that when they finally brought the pitch back, because they kind of shelved it and pushed it to the side, they didn't really talk about it. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, I'm back. As I was stating, he also stated that they kind of shelved the project and now they returned back to the project, and in that project they decided that what they're going to do is they had to prove to Phil. Phil said, okay, so what are we going to do? What are we going to use to make this happen in the vision that we've had? And he said, well, we'll put 4K, we'll put uncompromised gaming at the highest quality with the highest fidelity. They went to developers, they asked, you know, they tested over 50 different titles and games and things to see if it would work with developers to match and actually finalize the specs of the console, which is the Xbox One X, right? We're talking about, he said 50,000. That's a lot of numbers. That's a lot of game testing, okay? So Phil was the one who greenlit it when it was finally brought back into the table. So even though, yes, it started with Don Matrix, this is a Phil Spencer movement as well, and we should not knock him for it. So to get to my point, basically, you guys have to understand that because Microsoft didn't have the success Sony had, what Microsoft had to do was reconstruct the whole vision of Xbox One when it came out, with the whole, entertainment department division, with the whole, Kinect, having to be the primary use tool to run the UI, not just with the controller to give you all these other cool features. So they had to reconstruct everything. So their concentration for gaming and marketing and the success of what games that were already had in place with these deals had to be done and then quickly pushed to the side to reconstruct and rebrand the Xbox console and name, right? As a video game entity, right? So the R&D that went into the research which is research and development for the Xbox One X, was pretty expensive, along with making the console smaller for the first unit, which was the Xbox One S. And the reason why they had to do two versions is because they knew not everyone was going to want to buy into a premium console that costs $500, even though it's worth every penny because it's giving you the bells and whistles and a lot more. And they wanted to have the option to keep a nice, sleek console within the family that was also part of the ecosystem with Xbox, that was not unfamiliar and that looked more attractive, like the S. So that's why they did both. Because a lot of people ask, oh, well, why they did both? That don't make no sense, just a year apart. No, it makes perfect sense because Sony did it with the Slim. They made the Slim. Last year it came out. They brought out VR, and they brought out the Pro, all in the same year. Difference being, Sony was just sitting back on their success, enjoying their success. They didn't have to put R&D to try to fix any type of dumb stuff or problems that they have within the media and gaming itself to represent themselves. They didn't have to do none of that. They just kept going, and while they still have people working on stuff on the side, like the Pro and the Slim and things of that nature, they also made sure, and you know, in VR, because they bought the Gaikai and all that, so they made sure that they were making these big deals, and when the sales started shifting their way, well, as we all know, the deals started changing. They started getting more of the marketing deals. They started getting more. Give me 1 second. I'm back, guys. Sorry, I'm basically picking up my son. He's out of class. You know, he's tired, so it is what it is. So anyway, what I was just say, so Sony just basically had the privilege to just concentrate on the marketing deals and making their studios or in-house studios, hey, listen, go do this, go do this. They even brought back the shelf project of Last Guardian after almost 9 years and re-brought it back out to fill in the gap when they had hardly no games at all. Okay, within those 3.5 years until this year, when they got a slew of Japanese handouts from other companies like Sega and Atlas, which is one entity now, you know, and Platinum Games, right? So, you know, my problem is how people real quick, oh, well, I got to see it to believe it. They're not going to invest, no company is going to invest billions of dollars, or $1 billion in this case, I think it costs to do the R&D for the X, to make a new console so the console can sit there on top of people's homes and tables or whatever the case may be, to not create new games and projects for it. So obviously now that all that is out of the way, now they can concentrate on just making new software, buying new developers that are up and coming that want to be bought, and creating new studios for bigger projects that only they can you know, handle and wield and fund, because you know, games are expensive, and to make real good quality games you need millions of dollars. Okay, so they don't feel lackluster, or they don't feel like they don't have a longevity. Now, so not to go off too long with this subject, companies and developers only want to be bought if it benefits them, right? Or if they want to be bought. So I don't understand why people keep saying, oh, why Microsoft didn't buy Crytek, why Microsoft haven't bought Blue Moon Studios, why they haven't bought Remedy, why they don't buy Press Play, even though they did own Press Play. It was a deal for 5 years. None of their games did well, even though they were fantastic games. They didn't do well. I guess they didn't want to do another deal with them because it didn't really pay off with what they spent. And now Press Play went independent. They changed their name, and now that they changed their name, they're trying to bring their other little games that they still own the properties to bring them to other consoles to see if they have a second life, right? Which is part of business. It's just politics of business and gaming. But if Crytek says no, we don't want to be bought. In the same way, if you guys go back and follow Ryan McCaffrey from the beginning of the launch of the Xbox One, he said very clear that Phil Spencer was trying to buy, or Microsoft was trying to buy, Crytek's Rise IP. And they said no, they didn't want to sell it. I believe they even were trying to buy Crysis. I could be wrong, but I believe they were. And they said no. Okay, and look at where Crytek is now. That their own country had to give them a loan to save them, to keep them afloat, and they're still doing small booty projects for either the tablet, phone, or VR, and none of the games are selling. So they'll be dead sooner than we expect, because they're not going to survive. I'm not making any money. Okay, that's just the way the game works. for being greedy and not wanting to sell their IP because they feel like, oh, well, then we owe something to Microsoft, okay? When they've always been supportive of them. When that shouldn't be the way you look at it as. You should look at it as we want somebody that's going to keep our IPs going, that have money, that can take care of it, kind of like Marvel did with Disney and George Lucas did with Star Wars, okay? You give it to behemoth companies that can take care of the properties, okay? So, on top of that, okay, the other thing is, people are saying, oh, well, Quantum Break don't belong to Microsoft. Yes, it does. They bought that IP. They bought the IP of Scalebound. They bought the Cuphead, or the lifetime exclusivity of Cuphead. They also own Ori now, as far as the property goes. And people are saying these fallacies and these false information of, oh, no, they don't own that. Yes, they do. The only thing they don't own is Sunset Overdrive, for what I understand. And maybe D4, I think it's D4, and I can't think of the. No, they own Recore also. They own that as well. So that dumb stuff going around, it really irates me, because you guys call yourself Xbox fans and aficionados, and you guys don't know anything. You only know what you want to know or what you want to hear, and that's aggravating as an Xbox fan and a YouTuber. But that's why I'm here, because I have a voice, I have an opinion. I can say it on my channel and say what I got to say. You want to rebuttal it, you want to argue with me, you want to prove me wrong, you have that option. You get on my comment, you say, listen, let's discuss this, and we'll discuss it like grown adults and gamers. No problem. I don't have no problem with that. But if you can't argue it with me, then don't even bother leaving a comment, because I don't want my time wasted. I really don't. If you're going to come my way and slide my way, you better have your A game. Better know what you're talking about, because I'm not dumb. I keep myself on the loop with everything with gaming, or at least I try. And if I don't, I have boys that help me out, because I taught them that way, and they'll put me on the loop quicker than anybody. Because half the things that go out from bigger YouTubers in gaming, my boys know before it's even out and before I see a video, and that's a fact. The fact that I don't do the video because I have a life, is not all I'm doing, and I only do this for my own fun and my own personal reason, that's a different story. So we need to stop being ungrateful, and we need to stop being smartasses. We need to stop acting like we know everything, because if you don't have a degree in business, financing, or in management, you don't know how these things work. They came out and gave us good news. They gave us the news that everybody's been crying about since day one. We're going to make games. We're going to concentrate now on software. Everything else is out of the way. No more making fun of the time, size, power, the size of the console itself. Even though people know how to try to say, oh, it's only in black, it don't come in different colors, or it's too heavy. Come on, grow the fuck up. Grow up. It's heavy because it's quality, and it's black because black fits in most people's living rooms and entertainment centers, and they won't throw off with whatever colors they use for their living rooms. That's a fact. It's a primary color, just like white. And we all know that they're gonna do a Halo console custom X and a Gears perhaps down the road, or maybe something else, even a Crackdown. We don't know that, but we know they do that. It's just this is the first model of it, so this is the color they chose. Plus, it's an homage to the original OG Xbox, because even the Scorpio box has the OG Xbox inscriptions on the top in the design, because it's trying to throw back kind of an homage, because back then it was the most powerful console in the market, just like now. Okay. So know your history, know your stuff, your shit, before you yap your mouth, because it's annoying. It's already tiring and it's annoying. Sit back and enjoy the ride. And if you don't care and you don't want to buy the console now, guess what, people? The beauty of it is, as a consumer, you have a choice. You don't have to buy it right now. You can wait until you see more games, and then you decide to buy it. And perhaps by then, for those who like crying about money or about buying stuff that's supposed to be quality, even though you get what you pay for, you probably get it for a cheaper price. So it's a win-win regardless. Instead of ruining it for everybody else that's excited and actually care and really doesn't mind, because we've been here since day one supporting it. And I can say whatever the hell I want, because I don't get nothing for free. Microsoft doesn't send me anything. I just buy Microsoft products. I'm a fan and I appreciate it. Microsoft don't send me nothing. And I'm not going to ask you for anything. I'm not crying about it. I'm glad for those who get it, that really support Microsoft as well, like I do, and that care about Microsoft. But the trolls that don't care, listen, Microsoft is a class act. They don't have to prove nothing to nobody. They're just showing these people that hate it, that even though you hate it on us, here you go. We'll kill you with kindness because we got so much money that you're irrelevant, basically. Take a console for free. We don't need your money. We'll give it to you for free because we're not making nothing off of it. And that's basically their attitude. And for that, you got to commend them and give them respect. But that whole agenda say, that they don't want to buy. So no. Studios get bought if they want to get bought. I'll reiterate it and emphasize it again. If a company doesn't want to be bought, if a developer doesn't want to get bought, how come Insomniac is not bought by Sony? Because they never want. They bought their IPs, but they never bought the studio. Why? Because they do not want to be bought. Plain and simple. Microsoft can't put guns in developers' heads and be like, yo, we're going to buy you. That's it. It doesn't work that way. And if they don't give them a deal, yeah, I'm pretty sure they gave people deals and developers. But if they don't like it and they want more and they're being greedy, then I completely understand when Microsoft says no. Because just because they got money don't mean that these people have the right to get greedy. You're going to make money under their ecosystem if your game is good and if your property is good. That's a fact. It's going to sell. And you're going to make money. There's no need for being greedy. It's called being smart in business. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Leave a comment down below. I just wanted to touch base. I think it's a great thing. I'm glad Phil Spencer announced it on the eve of the Xbox One X launch. For all those doubters that were like, oh no, they're not going to make anything. Okay? Because this proves that they're committed. And that Phil getting a new position means he's running things now. At a better position, in a better place. So if he says, yo, I need this, and this is why I need it, he presents it to the big dog, and the big dog says, no problem. Go for it. He don't have other people to answer to anymore. He is the head honcho. Okay? Next to the head honcho for the Windows department, which would be Satya Nadella. Okay? Everybody enjoy your console. Everybody enjoy the launch. Everybody be safe because we got weirdos out here and haters. Alright? And put up your picks. Do what you gotta do, but play games. Stop letting these dumb haters aggravate you. And stop letting these dumb haters dictate what you feel about a certain company or a certain product, because it's a difference with being a corporate slave, and there's a difference when you call out bullshit. Because I play on all consoles, but Nintendo and Sony are not matching Microsoft for what they're doing for their consumers right now, and that's a fact. Point and blank. Because they get Japanese handouts, of course they do. They're a Japanese company. Japanese stick with Japs. That's the way it is. And don't go saying that I'm being racist and using the word Japs. No, because that's just me abbreviating it. Cut it out for you fools and trolls ahead of time. Xbox for life like a sickness that can't be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan. Don't be triggered, people. Keep it gaming. Leave a comment. Share this video. And if you don't like it, too fucking bad. That's just the way it is. Okay? Peace out.